Today was the perfect day for the Chicago Cubs to get a win. And guess what? That's exactly what they did. And today we got to give some flowers out to Mr. Consistency. Let's talk about it. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. And the official voice of the Chicago Cub fan lives right here on Chicago Cubs Central. Do not forget about that. Hey, listen, I appreciate each and every last one of you guys that are tuning in to the episodes. Go ahead and hit that like button, that share button, and that subscribe button. I would need you guys to make sure that if you have not, this is your first time, please make sure that you subscribe. If you are a return viewer, I appreciate you so much. Please make sure that you hit that like button. All right, guys, so we got to give flowers where flowers are due. The Chicago Cubs have been due. We've been starved and thirsty for a victory. Like I told you guys before, a little earlier this week, the 60s, getting past the 60s win mark for the Chicago Cubs, getting into the 70s has been hell for this team, man. It's been one of the hardest things that we've had to watch. But the Chicago Cubs officially got their 69th win on Saturday against the Pittsburgh Pirates. First and foremost, you want to give a shout out to Shota Imanaga. Shota Imanaga in this game was money. No other way to put it. Shota Imanaga, you get some flowers, man. Appreciate you so much for just coming out and being the model of consistency in when it comes to being able to pitch, when it comes to being able to lead the team. You have done so much for this team. You put up ace numbers in your time since debuting last April. In this game, Shota Imanaga went ahead and pitched two hit, one run innings, 3 hits allowed, one earned run, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts on 85 pitches. He has a 3.06 ERA. After him, Andrew Ketridge came into the game. He pitched in the 8th inning, and he allowed 1 hit, 2 strikeouts on 15 pitches, 12 of those being strikes. And then Brad Keller came in instead of Daniel Palencia, who apparently was a bit under the weather, Craig Counsell said after the game. Brad Keller came in and he shut the door for the Chicago Cubs. He did allow 1 hit. He also struck out the side, though. He did allow 3 strike. I'm sorry, not struck out the side, but he did strike out 3 batters on 20 pitchers, 12 of those being strikes. What can I say, man? You got to play who's in front of you, and you have to win. And the Chicago Cubs needed some clutch hitting, but they also needed clutch pitching to do so. And far be it from me to, not give credit where credit is due. Brad Keller, Andrew Ketridge came into the game, and they did their part. Shota Imanaga started looking a little bit wobbly in that 7th inning. So Craig Counsell, understandably so, was like, I'm not going to send you back out there for the 8th. It's tough to go through in order a 4th time. Shota Imanaga cruised through the first 2 times. The 3rd time got a little bit wobbly. So you definitely don't want to send them back out there for a 4th time and have something disastrous happen where the Chicago Cubs ended up losing this game. It was great to see you got some clutch hitting today. One person that literally when he came up to hit with guys and runners in score position, Tucker was on second, and PCA was on third, and I in my head rolled my eyes when Carson Kelly was coming up. I'm like, yeah, this is finna be out. But no, Carson Kelly, to his credit, took care of business, got a base knock right up the middle. It scored Kyle Tucker, tied the game up for the Chicago Cubs. And then PCA went to third on that one. Then in the 8th inning, Seiya Suzuki singled to center, and that scored Kyle Tucker again. It's hilarious. Kyle Tucker scored 2 of the Chicago Cubs runs in this game. Seiya Suzuki went to second on that. Seiya Suzuki went to third as the line moved along, and they actually walked Ian Happ, which was crazy. Ian Happ ended up stealing second, so you had 2 runners in scoring position, and they walked Ian Happ, intentionally walked him to bring in the guy who I want to talk about for this offense, the guy that has been Mr. Consistency, the guy that deserves the most flowers today, the guy that probably should be, hitting higher in the order. That's none other than Nico Hoerner, man. Nico Hoerner has been Mr. Consistency for the Chicago Cubs this season when it comes to runners in scoring position, when it comes to getting on base, when it comes to getting base knocks. The home run ball is a beautiful thing. The moon shots that you get to see Kyle Tucker and Seiya Suzuki and PCA, all these guys hit, those things are beautiful. But Nico Hoerner has been a guy all season long that has consistently gotten on base, consistently provided a spark for this team. In this game, he went 2 for 4. He with 1 RBI. His batting average is now up to 294. You couldn't ask for much more for him outside of maybe upping his slug. But, again, Nico Hoerner just isn't a slug type of guy. He's not a home run hitter. But again, in the games where you just need guys to do the simple things, Nico Hoerner is a guy that you can count on to do the simple things. It is imperative to the Chicago Cubs' success that they have guys like this in the lineup and in the order. Not everybody is going to be a home run hitter. Ryan Dempster mentioned something in this game. There was a moment where Carson Kelly came up again with runners in score position. The game was tied. And Ryan Dempster mentioned the fact that, sometimes it's great to get the home run. It's great to get the three-run homer. But sometimes when you're in tight games like these, if Carson Kelly would have sacrificed bunted himself and got himself out at first and moved the runner over to third, then Ian Happ's fly ball would have brought in a run, and the Chicago Cubs would have had a run earlier in the game. And so it's that type of thinking that the Chicago Cubs have to get back to as a team. They have to get back to, sometimes it's not always about being the power slugger. It's not always about having the fancy home runs. It's not always about these type of things, but it's about doing the small things in the game that win you baseball games. Not every game are you going to be able to hit home runs. Not every game are you going to be able, to knock the cover off the ball. But at the same time, if you can, in those games, still provide a spark, still do the small things that drive in runs, it's a team sport, baby. This is the only way the Chicago Cubs are going to get back in this thing. Right now, as it speaks, the Chicago Cubs are 8.5 games back of the Milwaukee Brewers. You play them 5 times. There's a lot that can happen still. There's a lot that can happen, and there's a lot of baseball still left to be played. But for the Chicago Cubs, you got to get back to the basics. You got to get back to the things that helped you have success earlier on. And you know what that is? That is creating your own runs, not just sitting and waiting and moving station to station and hoping somebody gets a big hit or somebody gets a home run. But it's legit creating runs by stealing bases, by swiping bags, by bunting, and doing the small things that account for so much for the Chicago Cubs' success early on in the season. Now, I want you guys to know something. We still have a right as Chicago Cubs fans to be optimistic about this team. I tweeted last night that I'm not excited for the Chicago Cubs to face the Milwaukee Brewers 5 times. Do I honestly, in my heart of hearts, believe that the Brewers are going to sweep the Chicago Cubs and beat them 5 times? No, I don't. That's hard to do. To play a team 5 times and beat them 5 times, that team literally has to either be one of the worst teams in baseball, or it just has to be one of those things where they just aren't clicking. I don't think the Brewers are going to beat the Cubs 5 times. Do I think the Brewers are going to have some success? Yes. Do I think the Cubs are going to have some success? Yes. Do I think the Cubs should have an opportunity to catch up to the Brewers? If you talk to this Cubs team, they believe they can. Michael Busch gave an interview earlier today, And he was talking about the fact that he believes that the Chicago Cubs still have all the intents of winning the division. It's August. August 16th is August 16th, 17th. You still got a month and a half and a lot of baseball to be played. In that locker room, there is a belief from this Chicago Cubs team that they can absolutely still win this division. So I pose the question to you today as our question of the day. Do you believe, comment below, do you believe that the Chicago Cubs can win the division still? They're 8.5 games back. The Brewers haven't played yet today. If the Brewers play and win, which I suppose they probably will against Cincinnati, do you believe that the Chicago Cubs, 9 games back, can potentially still come back and win this division? Or should they just focus their sights on the wild card and maintaining their lead at the first spot in the wild card? That's the question. That's the debate right now. What do you guys think the Chicago Cubs ought to do? But you talk to the players in that clubhouse, and they believe full-fledged that they still have an opportunity to win the division. It's a welcome sight, actually, and it gives them something to strive for. I don't know that I necessarily believe they can do that, but we'll have to see. A point was made, and I'll probably delve into this more right before the Brewers series. A point was made during today's broadcast that you don't necessarily want to be playing your best baseball between the months of July and August, because that means you're due for a slump. It's just the way baseball is. There's no team that's going to stay that hot and keep winning that many games, especially a team that A, did not add anybody at the trade deadline, that also B, really doesn't have a lot of power hitters. Guys are going to go through slumps. Guys are going to struggle. If you're expecting Christian Yelich to return to MVP Christian Yelich form, if you're counting on William Contreras, if you're thinking about these guys as the guys that are going to do those things for you, that's why I don't have any faith in the Brewers in the playoffs, because I've seen this story from the Brewers plenty of times in the playoffs. They don't have anybody on that team that's battle tested in the playoffs. None, including Christian Yelich. So I mean, even if they win the division, even if they get a first round bye in the National League Division Series, they're going to lose probably. They're going to come up against somebody that is hitting at the right time, that is doing things at the right time, and these guys are going to struggle. They're young, and that's just how it goes. They go up against a team like the Dodgers in the National League Division Series, bro. That's not going to be pretty for them. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. But back to our Cubs. Like I said, the Cubs have been treading 500, playing 500 ball pretty much since July, since beginning of July. We're now into August. They've been in a slump. The numbers, the stats, everything tells you that the Chicago Cubs are also due to start getting back on pace with where they were. And if that happens sometime in between September into October, look out, man. Look out. The Chicago Cubs could be on their way. We'll just have to see. But yeah, I just wanted to give some flowers to Nico Hoerner today. Your pick to perform player of the game, though, has to be Shota Imanaga. We needed another big start. I've told you guys before, our starting pitchers have to be pretty much amazing in order for the Cubs to have a successful chance at winning games. And only giving up one home run, a fluke home run to Tommy Pham. It did leave the yard. It did leave out. It went over the stands out into, I don't know if it was Waveland he hit it onto, but hit it out past the stands out in the outfield. So it did go out into the actual street. It was a beauty of a home run. But at the same time, that being the only run given up all day lets you know that Shota Imanaga was back locked in. And of course, you can't forget Andrew Ketridge that came back into the game, pitched again, and then Brad Keller that came and closed things out, getting the save. So, yeah, man, we appreciate the Chicago Cubs in this victory. They do have another game tomorrow. They will go up Sunday up against the same Pittsburgh Pirates. It will be Javier Assad. The Pittsburgh Pirates have not announced who their starter will be. As long as it isn't Paul Skeens, I'm all good. But if it ends up turning out being Paul Skeens, I'm going to be really pissed. Really, really pissed. because Paul Skeens is going to come out eager to redeem himself after what the Brewers did to him. So, I mean, we'll just have to see what happens, but we'll see. The Pittsburgh Pirates will announce a starter, and we'll see what happens from there. But hopefully Javier Assad can be sharp, and the Chicago Cubs can go from there. But appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you leave a 5-star rating if you're watching this on Apple or on Spotify. Also, leave comments. Thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. It means so much. Go Cubs, go. Appreciate you guys. Fly the W, obviously, because we just got that dub, baby. That's right. Go Cubs, go. Until next time.
Thank you for watching another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, the #1 spot for all Chicago Cubs content. Remember to like, share, subscribe for more Cubs content.